Everybody, and welcome to another fun week of the IROC Series at Daytona. My name is Cody Bird, joined again by Andre. I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name again, Andre.
Yeah, that's all right. We're here at Daytona. I think a lot of us have been at Daytona quite a bit over the last week with the Daytona 24. I know you yourself participated in that race, Cody, and we might get to that here in a little bit here. But tonight, it's not the Daytona 24. It is the series finale for the 100% Cup Series, IROC Series. This is going to be the final race. It was actually cut short by one race due to the Daytona 24, and we're going to be wrapping up the championship here tonight. It's coming down to two contenders. I believe the two drivers who are mathematically in it, points-wise, are Jonathan Delaney and
Dustin Schwingle.
Dustin Schwingle, yes.
Kevin does
So
have an
those
outside
two,
shot, too.
if he were to lead the most laps, he may be in it, depending on what happens to the other two. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's a light field tonight again. Six drivers are going to be duking it out here at the 2-point-something mile oval here, and it's going to be quite a show. We saw a plate race earlier in the season, and it was very interesting to watch the way these guys kind of maneuvered these cars with the aero and the draft and everything that they had to work with these big old spoilers on these cars. And I don't know, it's going to be hard to pick a winner for this race because it's really going to be anybody's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, with the championship coming down to such a tight points margin between John Delaney and Dustin Schwingle, there may be some trouble afoot as well, or Andre. As you may have remembered 2 weeks ago, there was a certain incident between Jonathan Delaney and Bryson Hixenball. And talking to Bryson Hixenball earlier this week, he said, as I quoted during the Cup Series last year, he will not win the championship. So we'll see if he actually does anything tonight. I'm hoping for a clean race. I don't know about you, Andre.
Yeah, I think we all want a clean race, but you're right, there's some bad blood there. I think Bryson's not too happy with Delaney. It was kind of a pretty cut and dry punt that we saw between those guys, and it was really not much of a reason for it either. I mean, those two were driving away from the rest of the field, kind of in a class of their own, and I think they would have been able to duke it out to the end. And then Delaney just got a little bit impatient, made some bad moves, and unfortunately got in over his head, and it cost Bryson pretty much. Bryson at that point was pretty much out of the points contention, but what embers of hope that he had left were pretty much washed out by that accident there, and he was not pleased by it. He did say, like you had mentioned, that if he has anything to do about it, Jonathan Delaney is not going to win the championship. So maybe something will transpire between those two. I've never really seen Bryson take somebody out intentionally, so maybe just some big talk. We'll have to see if he backs it up. But anything could go. These kinds of plate tracks, and especially with the tempers boiling, could be anybody's game, and anything could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of remember Bryson last year in the final week of NIS at Phoenix, or I believe it was an A Open. He did end up taking out Boyd Hogan for wrecking him. So Bryson does have that fiery side to him. And like I mentioned, he quoted me from when I said that certain somebody wasn't going to win the championship. So teammates think alike, Andre. And but again, hope that it comes down to the final laps between Jonathan Delaney and Dustin Schwingle.
Indeed, and again, we're just going to have to wait and see how it's going to play out. I think with a six-car field, I say this every week, and I'm always proven wrong, but I think with a six-car field, we're going to see a pretty quick event here. You only have so many cars. Even if you're tail end of the field, you're only going to be 5 cars back from the lead. So I think there's a lot of reasons for these drivers to be patient and just be there at the end and put themselves in contention. There's not really much of a motivating factor to go out there and make crazy moves, when the field is so small. So I think we're going to see some good racing. We're going to see some side-by-side action, but I don't think things are going to get too spicy until the end of the race, at which point, who knows what Bryson may do, if he's going to act on what he said, if some drivers are going to make some crazy moves for the championship. Schwingle, a really clean driver, but, I mean, the championship's on the line, so we're going to have to see how he handles that. But on your screen right now, you can see practice is coming to a close. I believe that's Dustin Schwingle pushing. Is that Alonso or is that McRae?
That is Preston McRae. So.
Yep, Preston McRae. For those of you at home, I'm sorry if I miscall anybody's name. iRacing needed an update, and I did not know until it was too late. So I'm watching this race through Cody's stream to Discord, and it's about 144p right now. I can't read the names on the left side of the screen. And there's 2 purple cars out there, so I got a 50-50 shot every time one of those guys comes up. But that is going to be practice wrapped up, and we're going to be gridding up, ready to go for tonight's action. Cody, I'm pretty sure you have the starting order?
I do not have the starting order because I wasn't sure of who was actually going to be gridding. I believe it looks like Alonso Chicano is going to be starting on pole. Preston McRae second, Bryson Hixenball third, Kevin Steele fourth, Jonathan Delaney fifth, and Dustin Schwingle will round out the field at sixth. I do apologize for not having the graphics. Some life events have concurred, and couldn't get it up in time.
So the championship contenders starting in the back of the field. Schwingle, like I said, he's a very clean and patient driver. I don't expect to see him do anything crazy until the end of the race. But Delaney, he doesn't like to be in the back of the pack, even if it's just a 6-car field. He likes to be as far out front as he could possibly be. So going to be kind of an interesting dynamic. 2 different championship contenders trying to maybe achieve this win in their own way. And then, of course, Kevin Steele, who is a little bit further out of the points picture, but still a mathematical possibility were he to win all of the most laps led, the first most laps led, second most laps led, all of that. And Delaney and Schwingle had a bad night. Maybe they wrecked out early. He could potentially get that championship. So I'm sure he's going to be trying to get up front, hustling, leading as many laps as he can. And then you have the other guys. You have Alonso Chicano, Bryson Hixenbach, 2 drivers that have had really, really rough experiences here in the IROC series. They've wrecked out of numerous races. They were kind of out of points contention weeks before the finale. Preston McRae, as well, has had some rough luck. He's been involved in a lot of wrecks that weren't really his fault. It seems like his car is just kind of a magnet. We've had some incidents occur, and all of a sudden he's in it and really nowhere to go, and that's kind of hampered his points contention as well. So you kind of got these 3 guys that are in it to win it, and then you got these 3 guys who are just here to finish out the season. And that difference in mindset is going to create some interesting dynamics, I think, as we work our way through this 40-lap race. But Cody, the pace car, is going to roll out of turn 4, probably getting ready to make that hard left turn, at which point these guys are going to be getting on the loud pedal, ready to race. There it goes, beneath the double yellow line. But when does Chicano get on the gas? When does the leader go? Looks like the inside lane got a huge jump right there. Absolutely huge jump. Check up on the top line, which is not good news for Dustin Schwingle, who got held up a little bit there. He's going to drop out of the top line, down to the bottom. Now 4 cars on the bottom, 2 cars up top, and we are ready to get racing here at Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely. And something also to keep in mind that we noticed at Talladega, these engines do blow, and I do believe they reduced the power by 3% to try to help alleviate that. But it's going to be interesting to see who blows a motor, who doesn't, and keep going as Jonathan Delaney battles on that high line going past Bryson Hixenball for second place.
Yeah, it's going to be a conservation game. You're going to have to watch your temps, like you said. The overheating, it's very sudden. A lot of the guys that were overheating previously this season said that there wasn't really much warning signs. They never went down on power. It was just like they were drafting, and then all of a sudden, boom, the engine went. So they're going to have to play it very cautious, make sure that they are watching their temps and stepping out at every possible opportunity, because if they don't, that could be their night over in a very disappointing fashion.
Yeah.
But Alonso Chicano still leading the way. Bryson Hixenbach behind him. And look at that. That's Jonathan Delaney. Started last, now making the move for first on the outside lane. He's going to get the nose on Chicano. Coming through the corner, of course, the bottom is going to be the shorter way around the track. It's an even 3-3 split. 3 cars up top, 3 cars down on the bottom. Joining Delaney up top is going to be Preston McRae, second in line, and third in line, Kevin Steele, who, again, he doesn't want to be back there. He really needs to be leading some laps, so I'm sure it's a frustrating situation to kind of be stuck in this traffic. But still, this even 3-3 split is last time around. I believe it was Chicano barely leading at the line.
Yeah, and I believe with the points differential as they're side by side, if Dustin Schwingle finishes he can't finish fifth or worse. If he finishes fifth with no laps left and Jonathan Delaney wins, then Jonathan Delaney would be champion. So you have to think too, because with this side-by-side racing free deep, Dustin Schwingle's kind of just going to be riding out back until at the very end to try to get a run and see if he can't just conserve his car and try to avoid a big wreck. Because as we look in the field right now, we got to keep an eye on Bryson Hixenbaugh and Jonathan Delaney, who are practically side by side. They're all side by side. Here as we go on to lap 4.
That's a good point. If you're Dustin Schwingle and you're told that you have to beat one car out of the 6, I like those odds. Those are good odds. It's going to be something that's very achievable, and for him, survival is going to be the goal. But you are 100% correct in saying that Jonathan Delaney and Bryson Hixenbaugh are ticking time bombs, especially with Jonathan Delaney leading the way. I feel like he's almost making himself a bit of a target for Hixenbaugh. Hixenbaugh very specifically said, if that's how you're going to race me, you're not going to win the championship. Well, now Delaney's out there leading the race, putting himself in position to win this championship. And you know that Hixenbaugh is looking out his windshield, seeing that blue car leading the way, and he's probably thinking of ways to handle that situation, for a lack of better words. But if Schwingle can put himself in a good defensive position, if he can just hang back a little bit and make sure that he's where he needs to be, he can easily avoid whatever transpires. Again, the field is not that big. At most, we're going to have a 5-car pileup or 6-car pileup. And I think, Schwingle, his wreck avoidance has been on point, especially at the road course. Back at Auto Club, he avoided a couple incidents. And so his wreck avoidance has absolutely been on point. Right now, he is currently running 4th. He's 3rd in line. His 2nd place and 3rd place are side by side. Jonathan Delaney, I believe that is Kevin Steele on the high line trying to lead a lap, get that lap led. But Delaney down low, he's going to try to take that away from him. Not sure if he led at the line right there. That was really close to call. But now looks like everybody went to the high side. Jonathan Delaney stuck on the bottom with 5 cars freight training to his outside. Is the shorter distance around the track going to be enough to help him keep this lead? Where's that draft going to get this outside lane right around him?
Yeah, and something to also think about in the Discord, a lot of people, John, when he won the Roval, he hasn't let us forgot that. So you have to think, if he was to win this IROC championship, that he wouldn't be cool with, or that he would be posting about that a lot. So a lot of these guys may just be trying to make sure to prevent him from winning that championship, whether that's freight training him on the top or on the bottom. As you can see there, as Kevin Steele leads that lap as we approach lap 7 here. Yes, but Kevin Steele looks pretty good early on. We didn't even get into race picks. Whoops.
It's kind of hard to make picks when there's a 6-car field, especially at a plate track. I feel like picks at this track would be kind of like gambling on a roulette wheel, but even more random.
or betting on GameStop.
I mean, well, at least we kind of know what GameStop's doing. We don't know what these guys are doing. Especially Hixenbaugh and Delaney. They could do anything out there. There ain't no predicting that. But if there is a pie chart out there or graphs out there telling us what these guys are going to do, I would like to see it, because so far this race has been very topsy-turvy. We've seen the lead change hands many times, and Dustin Schwingle slowly working his way closer to the lead. He was running in the back, then he was running 4th. Now he is side by side with Jonathan Delaney for 2nd place, trying to reclaim that 2nd place, but now that is going to be Preston McRae diving down out of line. Bryson Hixenbaugh following in short order. Now pretty much everybody going down low. Wherever Delaney goes, everybody else goes the other lane. So it seems like these drivers are not really wanting to work with Delaney. I guess he's kind of painted a target on his back throughout this season. And I say this from a perspective of somebody who is, I've seen all of these races. I've watched what's transpired, and I can't say I blame these drivers, but at the same time, man, it's a little rough to watch. You got Delaney out here trying to make something happen, and every other driver is saying, nope, we're going low. So that's definitely interesting to see. And Cody, I'm a little surprised by Alonso Chicano. He's in the back of the pack right now, dead last in 6th, and he's quite a ways back from the cars ahead. He's got about a car length and a half to Hixenbaugh, and then, of course, Hixenbaugh's about a car length back from McRae. And Alonso, I've never known him to be the kind of driver just to ride in the back and patiently wait things out. He's a very aggressive driver. He's a get things done now kind of driver. But this kind of is a different side of Alonso that I don't think we've seen all season long. And I got to wonder if maybe this has cropped up because he's had such bad luck. He's been involved in so many incidents this season. Maybe he's finally starting to say, all right, you know what? I want to be there at the end. And to do that, I got to play it safe. And sometimes playing it safe means not leading every lap, not making every move that you possibly can. Because he's running in the back. He's putting himself in a similar position to what Schwingle was in earlier in the race, where he was just kind of riding in the back. As they now go 3 wide for the lead. And I think that could, if Alonso sticks to this strategy, that could play out pretty well for him. And we're going to have to keep an eye on. But that was Dustin Schwingle trying to make the move on the far high side, up against the outside safer barrier. 3 wide with Delaney and Kevin Steele. So your 3 championship contenders, 3 wide as they made their way through the corner. Unfortunately, the high line lost its momentum. Delaney is holding strong on the middle, but Kevin Steele, whenever they get to these corners, he's able to just barely get that run and nose him out. So Kevin Steele trying to make it happen, and I think he's going to have the support of a lot of the drivers behind him. He's one of those drivers that has kind of done the opposite of what Delaney has done. I feel like Kevin Steele has put a lot of good karma in his bank. Nobody has ever really had an issue this season with anything that Kevin's done behind the wheel. So he's got a lot of support behind him. He's got the preferred lane on the bottom, and we're going to have to wait and see, but I think he can do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got clarification on the points battle. So what needs to happen, Kevin and John need Dustin to finish 6th. And then one of those two would need to win. Kevin would need to lead the most laps. John needs 2nd most with a win. So Dustin Schwingle's in a very good spot here if they keep preventing Jonathan Delaney from leading some laps. Something else to keep in mind, too. You have to think for some of these guys, too, Andre, that guys like Kevin Steele and Bryson Hixenbaugh going just straight around this track right now has to be throwing them for a loop. Because as they're 3 wide. Because I know Kevin, I think he said, put in about 12 hours during their race in the Daytona 24. So just going in a circle right now has to be bothering these guys too at the same point, as it looks like Kevin Steele's going to lead lap 13 or lap 12 as we approach the halfway point of this race.
Absolutely, that muscle memory is absolutely next level when it comes to racing, and I'm sure after running several hour stints in the Daytona 24, a lot of these drivers are getting through the tribal, and they're starting to want to press the brake pedal as they get towards the end of the tribal just to get that road course entry. But of course, that's not what we're doing. We're going straight. We're making our way around the oval circuit, and it's got to be a bit of a weird feeling after all those laps on the road course. But I'm sure these guys are glad to get back to some oval racing. I know in the case of Hixenbaugh and a few other. Whoa! Almost a little bit of contact right there. Looked like, luckily nothing really came of that. But Hixenbaugh, he can get around a road course pretty damn well, if I say so myself. But he doesn't really consider himself a road racer. He is an oval racer at heart, and he enjoys the Daytona 24. But this is where he is absolutely the most comfortable. So they're glad to be home, I'm sure. But this race is really heating up. I've noticed, Cody, they went from staying in line and freight training to now maybe a little bit of bump drafting as the laps start to wind down.
Yeah, you have to think, too, that these guys are playing it conservative, trying to leave a gap so that way their car does not overheat. And to keep it rolling, as it looks like Alonso Chicano is still just riding around in the back, waiting for something to possibly happen as Kevin Steele and Jonathan Delaney race side by side here as we approach lap. As we are on lap 15. I can't talk tonight. Wow. Long day. As it looks like Preston McRae is glued to the back of Kevin Steele, and he's not willing to make a move on his Apex teammate in the Cup Series.
Absolutely. I think McRae is going to do everything he can to help Kevin Steele. They are teammates in the Cup Series. They're friends off the track, and with McRae pretty much being out of the points picture, he's got nothing to lose by helping Kevin Steele. And so, like I said, it goes back to what I said earlier. Kevin Steele's got a lot of support behind him, and he's going to try his best to make something happen here tonight. But Jonathan Delaney, not handing it over easy. He has been up front pretty much constantly, maybe not leading laps, but side by side with the leader trying to make moves. And I've noticed repeatedly that Dustin Schwingle is making moves 3 wide to the outside. So it's like he wants to lead laps, but he's just not quite been able to get there and put himself in position. The bottom lane has pretty much been completely blocked off this whole time with 3 cars running down low. You're not really going to slot in anywhere. And I think he feels his best bet to try to get to the lead is through the outside lane, 3 wide. But unfortunately, the outside 3 wide like that is kind of the worst of both worlds. Not only is it the longer way around the track as opposed to the bottom, but also you don't have the draft help with those cars that are, down in the middle and down on the bottom lane. So here he goes again. He's up to the top of the track, 3 wide. Got a little bit of a shove there from Alonso Chicano, it looks like. And he's going to try to make it happen, and he just can't quite get there. That high line, just no momentum whatsoever. If they could get another car or maybe 2 up there to help him in the draft, maybe something could happen. But right now, all of these efforts seem pretty futile as we're approaching pretty close to the halfway point of this race. And Cody, I think this is a first. Halfway almost through the race, and we still got a full field.
Yeah, I think some of that has to do with Mr. Cameron Stone not making an appearance today either. I mean, he stuffed it pretty good into the tire barrier during the 24, so I think he needed a break from Daytona. But yeah, no, halfway, no accidents yet, 3 wide racing, as it looks like Dustin Schwingle is going to ride on that outside of Jonathan Delaney, trying to eliminate him from leading laps. But we've been treated to some great racing so far, as it looks like Kevin Steele has been the most consistent, wink wink, of the drivers so far in leading laps.
Yeah, right now I think Dustin Schwingle is putting his hand out the window, waving at Alonso, saying, "Come on, man, push me, push me." And I'm sure Alonso's trying to help him out here. It's just these cars do not like bump drafting. They do not like being pushed. The bodies are very fragile. Looks like Jonathan Delaney came up to make a bit of a block, and it was not a good block. I think there might have been a little bit of contact there. It's hard to tell from my perspective. Again, I'm watching a stream of this race that is very low quality, but it looked like there might have been a little bit of contact there. Can you confirm, Cody?
No, there wasn't any contact. It was very close. Jonathan Delaney definitely did throw the block on Dustin Schwingle to eliminate him from getting up to that lead. I'm not quite sure if I remember Schwingle leading a lap yet, but you have to think that him preventing that, because I believe if you finish 3rd in laps led, you get 1 bonus point, and that 1 point can make the difference between a championship for Dustin Schwingle or not if something was to happen to him and he finished 6th. As it looks like Alonso is to the back bumper of Dustin Schwingle here, and it looks like he'll finally be able to maybe make the passage. Jonathan Delaney crowds him as we get near the line.
Jonathan Delaney keeps throwing these blocks, and they're just not really helping him very much. I mean, he's throwing these blocks, and it seems like he's just slowing himself down, allowing Kevin Steele to further his lead down on the bottom lane. Alonso Chicano and Dustin Schwingle, they're trying their hardest on the high line, and they're doing a phenomenal job. The runs these guys are getting are absolutely massive, and Alonso, pushing Dustin Schwingle is something that's, like I said, not easy to do in these cars. They're very fragile. The bumpers don't really align, and yet these guys are still in tandem, working really well together. They're just being held back by the fact that they have to make these moves up on the top lane. Is now Alonso Chicano maybe dipping down low. It's going to be 4 cars on the bottom. No, now I believe that is Hicksenbaugh stepping out of line from the bottom. Now he's going to try to push Dustin Schwingle as Schwingle makes another 3 wide attempt going into turn 1. And Chicano is going to round out the back of the field there. He's going to join Hicksenbaugh up top. So now, Cody, for the first time all race in this 3 wide scenario, we've got 3 cars up top, 2 cars on the bottom. It's possible now. I think that Schwingle could make that move.
Oh, and Schwingle makes a hell of a move, diving low to fake out John. And the 3 of them are now up top, and hopefully they'll be able to, well, no bias. Hopefully they'll be able to get a run here finally. And I have to think that that was a move orchestrated by Alonso by allowing Bryson to get up there. As soon as I say that, of course, he drops down low. But it looked like that they may be able to get that to work, but just couldn't get enough speed after that move from Jonathan Delaney to protect the spot.
Yeah, they had a great move going, and that block really stalled out a lot of the momentum. it kind of held Delaney back a little bit as well. He fell back to as far as third there at one point. Now he has gotten back up towards the front. He's side by side with Kevin Steele as they make their way onto the backstretch. And again, 3 cars up top, 3 cars down low. We've seen a little bit of this all night long, it seems like. But Schwingle and Delaney, championship contenders, now going into turn 3, bumper to bumper. And again, I got to think that maybe Schwingle's getting a little bit impatient. He's made a lot of moves that were going somewhere, and then Delaney's coming up 3-4 lanes, throwing these blocks, and it's a fair game. You throw these blocks, you don't wreck anybody. It's a fair move, but if you're the driver that's getting blocked, that frustration builds up over time. And like I said, I know Schwingle's pretty level-headed, and I know he's a very clean driver, but man, that frustration has got to be starting to get to the tipping point. There is now 3 wide for third place. It's going to be, looks like Preston McRae on the bottom, Dustin Schwingle in the middle, and then Hixenbaugh up top. And then the front row there, of course, our leaders, Kevin Steele and Jonathan Delaney, with Chicano in the back of the pack once again. Things are really heating up with 18 to go. And, man, these moves are getting bolder and bolder.
Yeah, absolutely. And cue the Jaws music here. Bryson Hixenbaugh is to the back bumper of Jonathan Delaney now. So just got to keep an eye on that at the same point, as it looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to try to go up high on Jonathan Delaney here as we go into turn 1 on lap 23 of this race. And he said he wouldn't win the championship. Doesn't mean necessarily that he will wreck him. He will just make sure that he does not get this win and have somebody else potentially win the championship today, as Bryson Hixenbaugh bumps Jonathan Delaney going down the backstretch. So he is going to play some hardball here.
Well, I hope that Delaney is watching his mirror and that he knows who's behind him, because Dustin Schwingle, when Delaney threw those blocks, Schwingle lifted. He kind of accommodated it and, kind of was the bigger man in that situation. We have already saw that Hixenbaugh is not happy with Delaney. He's probably not going to be so courteous when it comes to these blocks. If Hixenbaugh gets a run to the outside and Delaney comes up 3 lanes to try to throw that block, I'm thinking maybe Hixenbaugh doesn't lift. So it's going to be interesting to see. But right now, that bump he gave Delaney actually working against his favor, as he has fallen all the way back to 4th, and Delaney is now in the lead ahead of Kevin Steele. So this is the first time that they've not been side-by-side for the lead. And just as I say that, back to side-by-side, Kevin Steele now on the top. He's got Bryson Hixenbaugh in tow, along with Alonzo Chicano and Dustin Schwingle. 2 cars on the bottom, Jonathan Delaney and Preston McRae. I'm assuming Preston McRae is probably trying to get to the high line as soon as he can to help out his teammate. But right now, kind of boxed in, nowhere to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not just going to back out of the gas, too, because even though he may not have the points to show for it, he does want to get a win here. All these guys, the best at the craft of what they do, they all want to win races. So, of course, anything possible can happen towards the end of this race, as we saw, I believe it was at Charlotte, which ended up being one of the better races as well. Actually, they've all been pretty good. As it looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh's bump to Kevin Steele will propel him back to the lead.
Absolutely. A huge bump from Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to push Kevin Steele clearly into the lead. He could come down right now and try to get clear of Delaney, but he stayed high, and now Delaney is going to stay side by side as they come out of turn 4. It's still this kind of 4-2 split. We got 4 cars on the top, 2 cars on the bottom, and we're going to have to see if Hixenbaugh can regroup, maybe get another bump draft to Kevin Steele, and maybe a little bit more help, maybe get Chicano to start pushing the pusher, as to say.
Yeah, and something to keep an eye on here, too. Dustin Schwingle's in 6th. He's in that danger zone right now. Of course, with the battle between Jonathan Delaney and Kevin Steele, they're going for the most laps led. Dustin Schwingle may be saving a little, but he's got to be careful as we wind down Kevin here. So that way he doesn't end up costing himself a championship.
And Kevin Steele, fool me once. I don't remember the full saying, but basically he's learned from his mistake. And he has come down on Delaney. He made the block, took the bottom lane, and that is going to secure him another lap led. And that, I think, was the smart move. I think the first time he was trying to stay high and pull Hixenbaugh out front as well as a bit of a thank you. But unfortunately, it just wasn't going to work. The high line really was struggling to get the runs, and there was only enough momentum there, I think, for one car. And there goes Delaney into the wall. at the hands of
No
Hicksenbaugh.
caution, no caution.
I think we saw this one coming from quite a ways away, Cody.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back and see what happened there. Sorry for the little delay here, guys. So coming out of turn 2, Bryson Hicksenball went high. Jonathan Delaney... Actually, it looks like Delaney came up on Bryson Hicksenball there.
Yeah, Delaney tried to make another block, and it just did not end well for him. The door was closed.
Let's watch from the cockpit.
So this is riding on board with Hicksenbaugh. There's the blue number 6, Jonathan Delaney. Delaney coming up, of course, right there. He goes back down and then back up. Just not very stable, and kind of spun himself off Bryson's bumper there. So,
and just as we say that, it looks like Bryson Hicksenball going for the lead here.
He is on the high line. He's got Chicano behind him, and that's Dustin Schwingle again trying to make it 3 wide for third. But we got an intense 5-car battle for the lead as these laps wind down. And then, of course, Delaney a little further back. I'm not sure he's completely out of it, though. He is within about 2 seconds, I believe that says, which I'm not sure what the draft range is for these cars, but with how big the spoilers are, I got to think maybe he's getting a little bit of that draft.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been falling back about half a second a lap over the last 2 laps. As Dustin Schwingle now, he's in prime position here to get this championship now that Jonathan Delaney's in 6th. Bryson Hicksenball made a promise, and he kept to it. So I personally am not surprised because Bryson Hicksenball is as one of the best drivers out there. So he made a promise and stuck to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that Hicksenbaugh took Delaney out. Like I said, I think Delaney kind of took Delaney out there. He played a dangerous game all night long. He was throwing a lot of blocks, mostly on Schwingle. And then I called it, Cody. I said, he's got to watch who's in his mirror because when he comes up and it's Hicksenbaugh there instead of Schwingle, Bryson's not going to lift. Schwingle gave him room. He played nice, and that just wasn't going to be the case with Hicksenbaugh, and I think we all knew that. So he played a dangerous game. He gambled. He lost, just like the hedge fund Wall Street folks kind of gambled and lost. That's a relevant joke. But Hicksenbaugh is really trying to get the lead on that high line, and Schwingle's not going to help him. He's going to say, all right, it's go time. I want to lead this thing, just like he has been all race long, trying to make those moves on the high side. Just no draft help. So without another car up there to try and maybe push him and surge ahead, I think he's going to be kind of trapped in limbo there for a while. But crossing the line, we got 9 to go, Cody.
9 to go, and we just got some more clarification from the almighty Demarius Hickenbottom. John just lost a championship. Kevin has a shot mathematically. If Dustin finishes 4th or better or gets any bonus, he clinches the championship. So you have to know, these drivers don't know the points standings currently. All they were told was at the last time before the race started what the points battle was. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they play their hand.
Absolutely. I don't know how many laps Schwingle has led, but I know that the 2 drivers that have been leading laps primarily were Kevin Steele and Jonathan Delaney. So I know Dustin Schwingle's made a few surges to the front through the travel. I'm not sure if he ever edged out the leader and led some laps, but if he did, that would make him one of, I believe, 3 leaders that we've had other than Chicano early on. So he could very easily get the 3rd most laps led with very few laps. He could lead 3-4 laps and get 3rd most laps led, which would, in theory, clinch the championship for him. So that is a possibility. But again, they don't know that entirely. They got a rough idea what the point situation is, but they don't know the exact number. So they're out here. They're going to race for all that it's worth, and they're going to push these machines to the absolute limit to try and get this championship and bring it home. And Kevin Steele, of course, he said earlier in the season that he was going to be more aggressive, that he was going to lead some more laps, that he was going to quit playing nice. And I think he's definitely held true to his word. He has been absolutely on the ball tonight. He has led a lot of laps. He's been out front pretty much all night long. And every time that Delaney or somebody else has tried to take the lead from him, his defensive maneuvers and the runs that he's been getting to retake the lead have been phenomenal. So he's definitely giving it his all. It's a long shot. He knows he's the long shot for the championship, but he's trying to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And fuel mileage may play a role here as well. They, as I'm getting word from Damaris, that the fuel that at Dega it was one tank barely. So that could be something that comes into effect here too. And something else to keep in mind. So if Dustin Schwingle finishes 5th, it comes down to a tiebreaker. So
Wow.
So this is going to be very interesting here with 6 to go as we wind down the laps with a battle between Kevin Steele and Bryson Hixenbaugh.
And, if fuel is an issue, Cody, I got to think that Kevin Steele and Dustin Schwingle, our championship contenders, would be the at-risk drivers because neither of them have been in the draft nearly as much as the other competitors. Kevin Steele has been leading a lot of laps, meaning that there's been nobody in front of him. And Dustin Schwingle, he's been towards the middle of the pack all night long, but you got to remember, he's been making those moves 3 wide with nobody to help him, just spearheading that outside lane on his own. So he's also not really had anybody to pull him around the track and conserve some fuel. So if fuel comes into play, it's crazy to say, but I think our championship contenders are the 2 that are at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And 5 to go. As we wind down the laps going into turn 1 here, Bryson Hixenbaugh has been on the outside of Kevin Steele for the past 4 or 5 laps. Bryson Hixenbaugh's hungry for a win too. We went into this IROC series, and we all know his beef with the playoff format. Looking at you, Camstone, and he thought that going into this he was going to have a legitimate shot at winning the points championship. Well, some bad luck here and there costed him his way, and now he's just trying to get wins. He did have the most wins in the 100% Cup Series with 15, so to only have 1 win going into the final race here, that's really surprising.
It is surprising, but it goes to show, you have these short series with only a few races over the season, and a little bit of bad luck here and there can really do you in. And for Hixenbaugh, that has largely been the case. So I'm sure, like you said, he's very hungry for a win. I'm not sure if he is. I'm not sure how much consideration he's putting into the championship battle. Maybe he's thinking, I don't want to get in these guys' way. I don't really want to affect the championship battle that much. Or maybe he's just out there driving for himself and he's trying to get a win. I think in either case, that's a very valid mindset to have. These guys are out here to compete at the end of the day. And just because they're not in it for the points championship doesn't automatically revoke their right to try and compete. So if he goes out for the win, I don't think anybody can blame him. We're just going to have to see what he does. But the laps are really winding down. And Bryson Hixenbaugh is still on that high line, trying to take the lead away from Kevin Steele. Chicano now behind Hixenbaugh, Preston McRae, Dustin Schwingle on the bottom lane behind the leader Kevin Steele. This is going to be quite the show coming to the last couple laps here.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting with 3 to go. Dustin Schwingle's in that 5th place spot. So you have to keep an eye on that too to see what he does coming down with 2 to go. You have to think that even though he may think he's safe, he's still going out for everything he has. He wants to get a win, but not having any draft right here is hurting him as he's going to fall back a little and lose the draft with 2 to go.
That could be a strategy play, though. 2 to go, he's falling back a little bit, maybe intentionally doing that so that he can get the run and try to make something happen here. But he has fallen a little bit further back than I kind of would have expected to see. He's about a car length back from Chicano, and he's just constantly stepping out, trying to make these moves 3 wide to the top. And so far, it really hasn't worked the entire race trying to make these moves up top. And he's kind of stuck very firmly to that strategy or those maneuvers. And so we're just going to have to see. But there he is up top again, really not much draft help as Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to barely nose out the leader Kevin Steele for a second to claim the lead through 3 and 4. But ultimately, it's not going to be quite enough to clear him. They're going to come to the line. White flag is out. I believe Hixenbaugh led at the line that time around. So if it is a repeat of last lap, Hixenbaugh definitely has a shot here. And again, Kevin Steele leading the race. And then Dustin Schwingle.
Oh, Chicano in the wall. That may have just.
I gotta wonder what happened there.
It looks like his car just stepped out on him as we come to the line. That may have just secured Dustin Schwingle the championship.
Indeed, it might have, but Kevin Steele leading the way coming into 3 and 4, being pushed by teammate and friend Preston McRae. Bryson Hixenbaugh, 3rd place. He's a little bit further back. They got a little ways to go before the line. Can he step out and try to make something happen? He's going to try. Up to the top goes Hixenbaugh. Down to the WO line, blocking both lanes. Kevin Steele coming through the tribal, and he is going to win Daytona. But who won the championship? That is the question.
Oh, man, this is going to be a close battle. Man, what a finish here.
Had Indy flashback, Bryson.
Wow.
Wow.
So the final rundown there, it's Kevin Steele 1, Preston McRae 2, Bryson Hicksonball 3, Dustin Schwingle in 4th, Alonzo Chicano 5th, Jonathan Delaney 6th.
Congrats on the championship, Dustin.
So I'm waiting for confirmation.
It was a lot of fun, boys.
On who actually won the championship before we declare a championship here.
Thanks,
Unofficially,
good win.
I believe it is Dustin Schwingle. The mayor said he had to finish 4th or better, and he did finish 4th. We're going to wait and see. But unofficially, I believe that's going to be how it ended up playing out. But man, whew, that was a wild last few laps. I got to wonder, Cody, what happened to Alonso? Did he blow a tire? Did he clip the apron and just happen to, have to overcorrect and get up into the outside wall? Who knows? But those are questions that are not on the mind of race winner Kevin Steele. He is sliding through the infield grass now, coming back up onto the pavement. He's going to try to burn that thing down best he can.
Yeah, and I'm going to just show him burning it out, and then we'll go check on to see what happened with Alonso. I know Kevin has some family that tunes in, so I want to make sure that they can see the celebration here for the first time this year. So
I'm sure Kevin Steele Nation is absolutely ecstatic to see him finally grab a win here at Daytona, and just a great way to cap off the season, even if he didn't get the championship, which we're not sure of yet. Still, you got to think he's taking this momentum. He won at Daytona, the last race of the IROC Series, and he's going to be heading into the 100% Cup Series with maybe a little bit of added momentum, added confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Clinching a win here at the final lap as he does the Polish victory lap going around Daytona. Let's check in to see what happened with Alonzo Chicano there as we came to the final lap.
Going to be definitely interesting to see. Maybe use either the onboard or the chase cam when you take a look at it there, Cody, because it seemed like a really odd just situation. So this is riding on board here on the very dashboard, and a little bit of contact, I think. I think there was some contact there. We're going to have to look at that from a third-person perspective. Coming out of the corner there, and...
Oh, that's not it. Sorry, guys. Trying. I don't think they ever made contact.
No, I don't think they did either. That's the strange... Wow. I gotta wonder if he didn't have a technical issue with his wheel.
Yeah, that was strange.
I mean, it just shot right. No contact. He didn't hit the apron. Nothing at all. It just shot right.
Yeah, so why don't you say we get these 4 people into the booth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not all at the same time, though, of course.
That could be fun, though.
All right, so let's pull in Bryson Hicksonball first. Bryson Hicksonball, this is Cody Bird up in the Bird Vision TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, Bryson, so walk us through the first thing on our mind here as we look back at this race. You said going into the race, Jonathan Delaney would not win this championship. And you may have been some contact between you and him going down that backstretch that I believe it was about lap 30.
Well, I said John wasn't going to win the championship because I knew that he'd do something stupid, just like he did tonight. He was being aggressive off of 2. He barely got cleared, but then I got the run back on his outside, and he tried to make it work, and I was back out there. He just went for a hole that I was closing, and he paid the price for it.
Oh, so as we could see, some bad blood between these two. Now, do you think that's going to carry over into the 100% Cup Series that starts in 2 weeks?
We'll have to see. He's been pretty fast in the off-season, picking up speed on his team. We'll see how many races we're fighting for the win at, and see how it goes from there.
All right, Andre, do you have anything to add?
Not really. Just congratulations on your podium finish. That was an exciting finish. Speaking of the end of that race, Bryson, you kind of fell back a little bit coming through turns 3 and 4, set yourself up with the slingshot, and you made the move up high. Then you kind of came back down to get a little bit more slipstream from Kevin Steele. and it was kind of chaos from there. You had cars beneath the WL line. You had Kevin Steele trying to block both lanes. What was going through your mind in all that hectic chaos there?
Yeah, after that netcode incident in turns 1 and 2, I knew there wasn't much chance I had. But once they cleared me in the corner, I knew I could go down the banking, get some draft off the corner, and maybe get up to second, possibly get some side draft working to get up to the lead. But it was going to be a long shot, and I put it out there. I tried to get as close as I could without making contact, and then right as I got alongside Kevin, he made the move up, and we went up into the wall.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on your podium finish, and thanks for putting on quite a show out there tonight.
Thank you guys for broadcasting. Hope to see you next year.
And that was Bryson Hicksonball, our third-place finisher. Now let's pull in our second-place finisher, Preston McRae. Preston McRae, this is Cody Bird up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Preston. So walk us through your strategy going through that race. It looked like you were pretty glued to the back of Kevin Steele.
That was part of the plan. The main thing I was trying to do was not blow up because these cars are really, really finicky when it comes to time here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't know if you knew how close that battle was for the championship going into the final couple laps there. Did you have any idea of what was going on?
I had an idea, but I didn't know the specifics. I know Kevin wanted to win the race, so I was trying to help him as much as I could. And at the same time, if he had bad luck, I wanted to be at the end, too.
Absolutely. Andre, you got anything to add?
Not really. I'm just really looking forward to the 100% Cup Series and watching you and Kevin. I was just really impressed with your team dynamic all night long. You guys were working together so well, and I just can't wait to see that energy brought to the 100% Cup Series, and hopefully you guys can take that momentum forward.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be awesome.
All right. So that was Preston McRae, our second-place finisher. Thank you, Preston. Anybody you would like to thank since we don't get to talk to you much up here?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Marians for putting on this awesome league and everybody that's involved, and want to thank you guys for broadcasting.
All righty. That was our second-place finisher, Preston McRae. Thank you, and have a good night.
You too.
All right, and then let's pull in the winner of the race, Mr. Kevin Steele. I'll let you lead this one off, Andre.
Kevin Steele, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you won the race. The point situation is a little uncertain right now. We think at the moment it was Schwingle that ended up clinching the championship with that fourth place. But it was incredibly close, and you ran a great race all night long. You said you wanted to be more aggressive. You said you wanted to lead more laps, and you came out here, and that's exactly what you did. You got to the front, and you never looked back. Walk me through your race tonight, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal, was to try and get to the front as soon as possible, and it's tough with the reverse grids and everything. I was kind of stuck third there on the outside, and Preston came over the radio, said he wanted to save his motor, so I told him to let me push John, because I knew I had to get John to the lead before I could get to the lead. And then, yeah, once I got on the bottom, it just... At that point, when you're leading like that, it's almost 100% the guy behind you. You know, as long as you can run a straight line and keep it on the yellow, that's really all you can do when you're leading. And it just depends on who's behind you. And John did get around me at one point. He was, I'm not sure why he was being so aggressive. Kind of the same as Charlotte. Like he had this thing not locked up, but he had it in his pocket before Charlotte, and he was too aggressive there, and he was too aggressive here tonight. But he was really aggressive coming down on me before he was clear, so I pretty much pushed him for a whole lap, and then got around the outside, and Bryson pushed me back around him. But yeah, I don't know about the points. Dustin got fourth, which is 12 points, and with winning and leading all the laps is 26 points. So I made up 14 on him, and I was only 13 down. So I'm actually not sure at all what the final points are until Damaris says what they are.
Yeah, we're in the dark as well. It's going to be interesting to see, but one thing we do know is it was close, and with how topsy-turvy this season was, I'm not sure we expected it to be such a close points battle at the end of the season, but That rally that you made in these last few races was nothing short of impressive. It was crazy, the kind of points gap that you were able to make up and the performances that you've been having. So I would say it's a pretty good way to end off the season and look forward into the 100% Cup Series and maybe take this momentum from Daytona and IROC and maybe take that same energy to Daytona and the Cup Series.
Yeah, that's the goal. Like I said a couple weeks ago now, I had that really bad race at Rockingham and knew I had to just be really aggressive, and that's what I did at Charlotte and here tonight, and was able to lead the most laps at both of those races. So that was probably my biggest weakness in the beginning of the season, and I was able to correct that. So yeah, I mean, if Dustin ends up with the championship, he definitely deserves it. He was the most consistent throughout the season. He was more consistent than me. He was up there up front pretty much every single race, so definitely deserved. If I got it, awesome. But even if I'm second by 1 point, I'm definitely proud of the effort that I put in, and like you said, I'm more ready now than ever for the Cup season to start. I wish it started tomorrow.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, Cody, unless you got something to add, thanks for your time, Kevin. And is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, well, shout out to my parents and a special shout out to my mom. It's her birthday this week, so happy birthday, Mom! And thanks to Preston. He was the reason I won that race. He did everything he needed to do to put himself in perfect position. And I think even if Chicano didn't make a mistake there on the last lap, I think Preston would have been able to push me to the win there. So thanks to him and everybody at Apex, and of course you and Cody up there in the booth. It was a good season. I had fun.
Absolutely, and glad you're making right turns at Daytona again, or not right? No left turns. Wow, no right, no
The
more.
other way, Cody.
Yeah, yeah.
If he was making right turns, he'd be going the wrong way.
John made some right turns. Ask him how that went.
And the crap talking starts as we look forward to the beginning of the 100% Cup League starting next week with the duels and the shootout. Twins, yeah. Wow, I said the same
Twins.
thing. All right, I'm gonna go take a nap. So have a good night, Kevin. And look forward to speaking to you hopefully again soon.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, well, let me make sure I can get this right before we interview Dustin here, because, well, my mind's shot. So in comes Dustin. Andre, I'll let you lead this off again.
Dustin Schwingle, you got a copy?
I can hear you.
All right. You put on a great performance out there tonight. You were super consistent, and it seemed like you were trying to make that high line work all night long. And even though you didn't have maybe as much draft help as you would have liked, you were still making some fantastic moves. And right now, we think unofficially, according to Damaris, he hasn't counted officially, but unofficially, Damaris is saying that with that fourth place, you have clinched the championship for the IROC Series. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's what I was hearing as well. Obviously, that'd be awesome. I'm not sure if that's how the points will shake out. We'll just have to see, count them up, and see where everybody lands. But yeah, I was trying to make that high side work. I just didn't want to put myself in a chance of blowing my motor. These things overheat pretty easily here at Daytona, and just wanted to get some fresh air in the nose and not take any chances. So that top line was where I was at all race.
Definitely a good way of keeping the engine cool, and we were talking about that a little bit in the broadcast, just how these engines are very easy to overheat, and there's not much of a warning sign before they go. So was fuel mileage ever a question? We had heard going into the race that it was going to be kind of close with the one tank of fuel, and with you not really drafting that much, trying to make that high line work, we were kind of having some questions up in the booth. How was the fuel situation?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I hadn't done any fuel runs or anything like that in practice, but checked in about halfway and looked at my fuel gauge and saw I had more than half a tank left, so didn't worry about it too much after that.
All right. Well, Cody, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Dustin, just want to thank you so much over the past 6 races. I almost said 6 weeks. It hasn't been 6 weeks. For the great shows that you put on. Obviously, you led off our season with that .000 win, and you finish it up as championship. Congratulations on that. So, what are your plans for the rest of the year now? What league do you run in?
Well, yeah, first of all, thanks a lot. That means a good deal to me, and having the couple wins on the season made it pretty memorable, and no matter how the championship points shake out, great job to everybody that I raced with. It was a good competition out there. But yeah, we'll see what's next for me. I don't have any official plans. I like to do the NASCAR stuff. I'm on dirt as well. Just a little bit of everything, I think. Helps keep me sharp.
Alrighty, and before we let you go, anybody you would want to thank for this great run this year?
Just one final shout out and thanks to you guys for broadcasting these races and being with us all season, and to everybody who helps put on the 100% IROC series out there.
Absolutely. All right, Dustin. Well, congratulations unofficially, and I look forward to hopefully speaking to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty, Andre. So, some final thoughts on this season as a whole. I think we were treated every week to a great race, and I hope the fans enjoyed as well.
Absolutely. These races were all pretty much a joy to watch. I can't think of a single dud race. They all had something that was fun to watch and very entertaining. And the point situation, like I told Kevin Steele, going into this season and seeing how topsy-turvy it was with, points leaders having bad days and, guys that were further back having good days, kind of thought, maybe this point situation is going to be kind of cinched in pretty early, but it ended up being a very close points battle. We still don't know for sure who got it.
I got official confirmation. So, kind of feel bad now. Kevin Steele has officially won the championship. That is.
So it was Kevin Steele.
Do you want to pull him back in for a championship interview, or?
That's up to you.
I think he thanked everybody.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. The season was great. It was very interesting to watch, and I think putting all these drivers in a car that they're not very familiar with at such a wide range of tracks was a really great idea. And I was very excited to watch how these drivers tackled every track we went to all season long, and hopefully we can do something again like this in the future. After the next 100% Cup Series season, and maybe get the band back together and do something similar, because to me this was an absolute joy.
Yeah. So what are some of your plans for the Cup season this year? Are you returning with 3-wide TV?
I'll be broadcasting select races with 3-wide TV. Kenneth Bueno and Carlos Acosta. They are going to be broadcasting the first handful of races of the season, including the Daytona 500. There's going to be an intermittent kind of schedule after that. A lot of the mid-race seasons I don't think we're going to be covering, but come to the playoffs, we are going to be covering the playoffs with 3-wide TV, so we're going to get to see how that shakes out, just like last year. And it's going to be a good time. I look forward to working with those guys. And, of course, Cody, you're going to be on the track rather than in the booth, so hopefully you can have some good runs, and I wish you best of luck there. I'm going to be a team owner in 100% Cup Series. Kind of forgot to mention that. But I have started Loudmouth Motorsports. I hired Chad, Bryce, Mason, 3 fantastic drivers, and we're going to hopefully go out there and get one of our drivers the Rookie of the Year award and maybe the team championship.
You got to deal with Highside Motorsports, and I'm glad to be back to making left turns here. Watch out for grass. That's always my key word. Make sure that you tell your drivers that. But I do appreciate that sentiment, Andre, and I look forward to hopefully seeing your teammates out on track and building a good working relationship.
Absolutely. All right. Well, from us here at Bird Vision TV, thank you for tuning in all season long. And whatever we broadcast next, I'm sure that'll be a little while since IROC has come to a close, but we hope to broadcast something for you in the future. And again, thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Have a great night, guys.